The air hung thick with the scent of cheap perfume and stale cigarette smoke. A haze of secrecy shrouded the dimly lit room, illuminated only by flickering gaslights that cast long, dancing shadows. Crimson curtains, heavy with dust and secrets, concealed the windows, shutting out the world outside. The brothel, a world unto itself, pulsed with a hidden life. Its inhabitants, both workers and patrons, moved through this clandestine space, each carrying their own stories, their own burdens, their own desires. A worn-out piano sat in a corner, its ivory keys chipped and yellowed, whispering forgotten melodies under the clumsy touch of a weary musician. The music, a melancholic waltz, seemed to mirror the lives unfolding within those walls, a bittersweet dance of fleeting pleasure and enduring sorrow. Laughter, strained and brittle, occasionally pierced the smoky air, a stark contrast to the hushed conversations taking place in shadowy corners. This was a place where vulnerability and defiance coexisted, where desperation and resilience intertwined. The brothel was more than just a place of illicit transactions. It was a microcosm of society, reflecting the complexities of human desire, vulnerability, and the search for connection. Behind the facade of lust and forbidden pleasures lay a tapestry of human experiences, woven with threads of love, loss, and longing. Each room held a story, each encounter a whisper of something more profound than the fleeting moments of physical intimacy. This was a place where judgments were suspended, where societal norms were blurred, and where the human condition was laid bare. It was a space that challenged our preconceived notions of morality and forced us to confront the uncomfortable realities of our own desires and vulnerabilities. The brothel, in its raw and unvarnished form, held a mirror to society, reflecting our hidden desires, our unspoken needs, and the intricate web of relationships that bind us together. Each individual who walked through the brothel's doors brought their own story, their own reasons for being there. There were the workers, women from all walks of life driven by a variety of circumstances, poverty, desperation, or a yearning for something more. They were mothers, daughters, sisters, each with a past that led them to this clandestine world, each with dreams that extended beyond the confines of these walls. Some wore masks of indifference, their eyes hardened by the realities of their trade, while others clung to a flicker of hope, a belief in a brighter future. The patrons, too, came from diverse backgrounds. Some sought solace from loneliness, seeking a fleeting moment of connection in the arms of a stranger. Others were driven by a darker impulse, their desires fueled by power and control. There were businessmen seeking a temporary escape from the pressures of their lives, young men yearning for forbidden experiences, and lonely souls searching for a semblance of intimacy. Each interaction, each exchange, whispered a story of longing, vulnerability, and the complex tapestry of human desires. The brothel was a melting pot of human experiences, where stories intersected and intertwined. It was a place where societal boundaries blurred, where judgments were suspended, and where individuals from all walks of life found themselves drawn together by a shared need for connection, albeit fleeting and often transactional. Within these walls, the lines between right and wrong, moral and immoral, became increasingly ambiguous. It was a space that challenged our preconceived notions of society and forced us to confront the complexities of human nature. The brothel, in its raw and unvarnished form, became a stage for the human drama. It was a place where stories unfolded, secrets were whispered, and lives intersected in a symphony of desire, desperation, and the enduring search for connection. Each encounter, each transaction, was a testament to the complexities of the human experience, a reminder that behind the facade of societal norms and moral judgments lies a multifaceted reality, rich with contradictions and nuances. The Madame, a woman of formidable presence, ruled the brothel with a blend of iron will and calculated compassion. Her gaze, sharp and discerning, could pierce through facades, and her voice, husky with years of whispered secrets and hushed commands, held an undeniable authority. She was a master manipulator, a shrewd businesswoman, and a protector of the women under her care, all rolled into one. Beneath her hardened exterior lay a flicker of empathy, a recognition of the shared humanity that bound her to the women whose lives she controlled. She had navigated the treacherous waters of this clandestine world for decades, witnessing firsthand the fragility of human lives and the brutal realities of survival. She understood the desperation that drove women to her doorstep, the societal pressures that forced them into this life. Yet she also recognized the strength that bloomed in the face of adversity, the resilience that allowed them to endure the hardships of their chosen profession. Her heart, though hardened by years of navigating this shadowy world, still held a flicker of tenderness for the women under her care. She was a complex figure, a study in contradictions. She was both exploiter and protector, businesswoman and confidant. She understood the rules of the game, the harsh realities of a world that preyed on the vulnerable, yet she also strived to create a semblance of order, a sense of security within the confines of her domain. The women under her watch were not merely commodities, they were individuals with stories, dreams, and vulnerabilities. She knew their pasts, their secrets, their hopes for a future beyond the brothel walls. Her role was a delicate balancing act, navigating the treacherous waters of morality and survival. She was both a perpetrator and a victim of the system, a woman who had learned to thrive in a world that offered few choices. Her story, like those of the women she sheltered, was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to find strength and even compassion in the most unlikely of places. The Madame, in all her complexity, served as a reminder that even within the darkest of shadows, flickers of humanity can still endure. Across the street, hidden behind lace curtains, lived a woman known only as Mrs. Hathaway. A widow, her days were filled with quiet routines and solitary rituals. Yet, her life was inextricably linked to the brothel, a silent observer of the comings and goings of its inhabitants. From her window, she watched the carriages arrive, carrying men from all walks of life, their faces hidden in the shadows. She saw the young women, some barely more than girls, flitting in and out of the brothel's doors, their eyes betraying a mixture of fear and defiance. Mrs. Hathaway, though seemingly detached from the world of the brothel, harbored her own secrets, her own judgments. She whispered prayers for the lost souls who frequented the establishment, lamenting the moral decay that seemed to permeate the very fabric of society. Yet, there was a flicker of something else in her eyes, a hint of curiosity, perhaps even a yearning for a glimpse into the hidden world unfolding across the street. The brothel, with its aura of forbidden pleasures and unspoken desires, held a strange allure, a forbidden fascination that she couldn't entirely resist. Her life, in stark contrast to the vibrant albeit clandestine world of the brothel, seemed to shrink in comparison. The quiet routines of her days, the predictable rhythm of her solitary existence, felt stifling in the face of the raw, unvarnished reality unfolding across the street. She found herself drawn to the window, her gaze fixed on the brothel, as if seeking a vicarious escape from the confines of her own life. The brothel, in its own perverse way, became a source of both repulsion and fascination, a reminder of the complexities of human nature that lay hidden beneath the veneer of societal norms. Mrs. Hathaway, the silent observer, represented the unspoken judgments, the moral anxieties, and the hidden curiosities of the world outside the brothel walls. Her presence served as a reminder that even in the shadows, society was watching, judging, and grappling with the implications of this clandestine world. The brothel, with its inhabitants and its secrets, became a mirror reflecting the complexities of human desire, the moral dilemmas, and the unspoken yearnings that lurked beneath the surface of respectable society. The Lost Soul, a client's confession. He arrived at the brothel's door with a heart heavy with shame and a mind clouded with despair. A man of standing in the community, a respected businessman, he carried a secret that gnawed at his soul. Loneliness, a constant companion, had driven him to this place, a sanctuary of fleeting intimacy where he could shed the weight of his carefully constructed persona. The brothel, with its air of anonymity and acceptance, offered a temporary reprieve from the suffocating grip of his double life. He sought solace in the arms of a woman whose name he barely remembered, her touch a temporary balm for his aching soul. In the dimly lit room enveloped by the scent of cheap perfume and the hushed whispers of forbidden desires, he found a momentary escape from the emptiness that haunted his waking hours. The act itself was perfunctory, devoid of genuine connection, yet it offered a fleeting illusion of intimacy, a temporary reprieve from the crushing weight of his loneliness. As he walked away from the brothel, the shame returned, washing over him like a tidal wave. He loathed himself for his weakness, for succumbing to his baser instincts. The guilt gnawed at his conscience, a constant reminder of his transgression, yet beneath the self-recrimination a flicker of something else remained, a yearning for genuine connection, a longing for an intimacy that transcended the transactional nature of the brothel. His story was a testament to the universality of human needs, the longing for connection that transcended societal boundaries and moral judgments. He was a man trapped between the expectations of his public persona and the secret desires of his heart, a lost soul seeking solace in the shadows. His confession served as a reminder that even within the most respectable members of society, hidden desires and unspoken vulnerabilities could fester, driving them to seek refuge in the most unlikely of places. The Survivor, a worker's tale of resilience. She entered the brothel with a heart full of fear and a spirit hardened by circumstance. Poverty, a relentless pursuer, had stripped her of choices, leaving her with few options for survival. The brothel, with its promise of financial stability, albeit at a steep price, became her refuge, a place where she could leverage her body to secure her existence. It was a world that demanded she suppress her emotions, harden her heart, and present a facade of indifference to the world. She learned to navigate the treacherous waters of her chosen profession, mastering the art of detachment, the ability to separate her body from her soul. Each encounter, each transaction became a performance, a carefully constructed act designed to shield her true self from the prying eyes of her clients. The brothel, with its rules and its rituals, became her battleground, a place where she fought for her survival, her dignity hanging precariously in the balance. Yet beneath the hardened exterior, a flicker of defiance remained. She refused to be defined by her profession, clinging to the remnants of her dreams, her hopes for a future beyond the brothel walls. She found solace in the camaraderie of her fellow workers, the shared understanding of their situation forging a bond of sisterhood in the face of adversity. The brothel, despite its inherent exploitation, became a space of unexpected solidarity, a place where women, stripped of their choices, found strength in their shared struggle. Her story was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to endure hardship and find strength in the face of adversity. She was a survivor, a woman who refused to be broken by circumstance, who fought to retain her humanity in a world that sought to strip her of her dignity. Her tale served as a reminder that even within the most exploitative of environments, the human spirit could endure, finding ways to resist, to hope, and to dream of a brighter future. The price of pleasure, love, loss, and longing. Within the walls of the brothel, love took on a different form, a distorted reflection of the genuine connection that existed outside its confines. It was a love born of desperation, of shared vulnerability, of fleeting moments of tenderness in a world that offered little compassion. The workers, bound by their shared experiences, formed deep bonds of friendship, finding solace in the understanding and support of their fellow sufferers. They became each other's confidants, their sisters in arms, navigating the treacherous waters of their profession together. The clients, too, sought a semblance of love, a temporary reprieve from the loneliness that haunted their lives. They yearned for connection, for a moment of intimacy that transcended the transactional nature of their encounters. Some developed genuine affection for the women they frequented, their hearts touched by the vulnerability and resilience they witnessed. These relationships, though unconventional and often fleeting, offered a glimpse into the complex nature of human connection, the yearning for intimacy that defied societal norms and moral judgments. Yet the brothel was also a place of profound loss. The women who worked within its walls sacrificed their innocence, their freedom, and often their dreams for the sake of survival. They carried the weight of societal judgment, the stigma of their profession, and the emotional toll of their encounters. They lost their connection to the outside world, their lives becoming entangled in the shadowy realm of the brothel, their identities shaped by the expectations of their clients. The brothel, in its own perverse way, became a microcosm of the human experience, reflecting the complexities of love, loss, and longing. It was a place where hearts were both hardened and softened, where connections were forged and broken, and where the human need for intimacy played out in its rawest, most vulnerable form. Morality's tightrope, navigating the ethical maze. The brothel existed in a moral gray area, a space where societal norms clashed with the realities of human desire and the complexities of survival. It was a place that challenged our preconceived notions of right and wrong, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truths about our own judgments and the limitations of our moral compass. The brothel, in its raw and unvarnished form, became a mirror reflecting the hypocrisies of society, the gap between our professed values and our hidden desires. The workers, often condemned by society, were driven to this profession by a variety of circumstances, many beyond their control. Poverty, desperation, and a lack of opportunities forced them into a life they never envisioned for themselves. They were victims of a system that exploited their vulnerability, a society that turned a blind eye to their plight while simultaneously condemning their choices. The brothel, in its own perverse way, became a reflection of society's failings, a testament to the inequalities and injustices that pushed individuals to the margins. The clients, seeking solace, escape, or simply the fulfillment of their desires, grappled with their own moral dilemmas. They were often men of standing in the community, respected members of society, yet their presence within the brothel walls exposed the hypocrisy of their own values. They condemned the workers while simultaneously seeking their services, perpetuating the cycle of exploitation and judgment that defined the brothel's existence. The brothel, in its liminal space, challenged our understanding of morality, forcing us to confront the complexities of human nature and the limitations of our own judgments. It was a place where the lines between right and wrong blurred, where victims and perpetrators were often one and the same, and where the human search for connection played out in its most morally ambiguous form. Beyond the brothel walls, echoes in society. The brothel, though a clandestine world, cast a long shadow over society, its influence rippling outwards, touching the lives of those who never stepped foot within its doors. The stigma associated with the sex trade permeated the lives of the workers, following them beyond the brothel walls, impacting their relationships with family, friends, and the wider community. They carried the weight of societal judgment, their pasts haunting their present, their choices forever shaping their identities. The families of the workers, often unaware of the true nature of their loved one's profession, grappled with their own shame and confusion. They were torn between their love for their family member and the societal condemnation associated with the sex trade. The brothel, despite its physical separation from the outside world, infiltrated the lives of those connected to its inhabitants, casting a shadow of secrecy and shame over their relationships. The community at large, though often choosing to ignore the brothel's existence, was nonetheless impacted by its presence. The brothel represented a moral stain on the community, a symbol of the hidden desires and transgressions that lurked beneath the surface of respectable society. It served as a reminder of the complexities of human nature, the hypocrisy of societal norms, and the enduring tension between our professed values and our hidden desires. The brothel, in its impact on the lives of those connected to it, revealed the interconnectedness of society, the ways in which our actions and choices ripple outwards, impacting not only ourselves, but also those around us. It served as a stark reminder that the personal is inherently political, that our private desires and choices have public consequences, and that the boundaries between the clandestine world of the brothel and the seemingly respectable world outside its walls were often blurred and permeable. The human factor beneath the layers of judgment. Beneath the layers of judgment, societal condemnation, and moral anxieties, the brothel revealed a fundamental truth about the human experience: the enduring need for connection. The workers, despite the transactional nature of their profession, yearned for genuine intimacy, for a sense of belonging that transcended the confines of their work. They formed deep bonds with each other, finding solace in the shared understanding and support of their fellow sufferers. The clients, often driven by loneliness, desperation, or a desire for escape, sought a semblance of connection in the arms of strangers. They longed for a moment of intimacy, a temporary reprieve from the pressures of their lives, or simply a human touch in a world that often felt cold and isolating. The brothel, in its own way, became a space where individuals, stripped of their social masks, could connect with each other on a primal, human level. The brothel, despite its inherent exploitation and the moral complexities that surrounded it, served as a testament to the enduring human need for connection. It was a place where individuals from all walks of life came together, their lives intersecting in a shared search for intimacy, solace, and a sense of belonging. The brothel, in its raw and unvarnished form, revealed the universality of human desires, the longing for connection that transcended societal boundaries and moral judgments. The brothel, in its exploration of the human need for connection, challenged us to look beyond our preconceived notions and judgments. It forced us to confront the complexities of human nature, the vulnerabilities that bind us together, and the shared humanity that exists even in the darkest of corners. The brothel, in its own way, became a mirror reflecting our own desires, our own need for connection, and the fundamental truth that we are all, in some way, searching for solace, intimacy, and a sense of belonging in the world. Reflections in the mirror, a glimpse into ourselves. The brothel, with its secrets, its inhabitants, and its complex web of relationships, serves as a mirror reflecting the intricacies of human nature. It challenges our preconceived notions of morality, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable realities of our own desires and vulnerabilities. The brothel, in its raw and unvarnished form, becomes a microcosm of society, exposing the hypocrisies, the inequalities, and the enduring search for connection that binds us together. As we peer into the shadowy world of the brothel, we are confronted with reflections of ourselves, with glimpses into the hidden desires, the unspoken needs, and the moral dilemmas that shape our lives. The brothel, in its liminal space, dismantles the artificial boundaries between the respectable and the illicit, revealing the interconnectedness of human experiences and the universality of our desires. The brothel, in its exploration of the human condition, serves as a reminder that we are all complex beings, capable of both great compassion and profound darkness. It challenges us to look beyond our judgments, to recognize the humanity that exists even in the most unlikely of places, and to acknowledge the complexities of our own moral compass. The brothel, in its own way, becomes a catalyst for self-reflection, a mirror that reveals not only the shadows of society, but also the hidden corners of our own hearts.